This is a place of attractions. It draws millions of tourists every year.
It's fascinating for not only what you can see on land, such as forested hills or white sandy beaches, but also
what you can discover underwater.
It's one of the most pristine soft coral and hard coral reefs I've personally ever seen.
There's some soft corals here that you won't see anywhere else in Vietnam.
Pretty good visibility, good range of fish, some of the best in Vietnam.
Coral, fish, squid, the diversity of Cham Island's underwater world makes it a paradise for scuba divers.
if you're a novice diver like me wanting to discover that wonder world under the Cham Island, well, stay here with me for the next 25 minutes because in this episode, we're going to learn all about the basics of scuba diving with one of the most experienced diving instructor in town, Mr. Steve Reid, and learn more about his life here in Vietnam as a diving instructor. Well, let's get started!
Scuba diving since the age of 17, Steve Reid, a diving instructor from England, has dived in more than 30 locations all around the world.
I've dived all over the place. Started in the Caribbean, lots of diving in Europe, around the Canaries, the Mediterranean, in Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, Australia. I dived the Great Barrier Reef in Australia, also in the States as well. I've done probably now about 6,500 dives, so quite a lot.
Steve's obsession for scuba diving has led him to the central city of Nha Trang in Vietnam. This is home to one of the most diverse marine biologic systems in the world. Steve did his Instructor Development course, or IDC, here in Nha Trang. After completing the course, Steve was offered a job in a diving company in the central city of Hoi An, and he's never left the city ever since.
Came to Hoi An, fell in love with Hoi An. Diving in Hoi An is relatively new compared to the rest of Asia. It's only really been here for 10 years, and it's slowly growing a reputation in Southeast Asia and especially Vietnam for exceptional diving. The word of mouth amongst the diving community is that if you're going to Vietnam, you've got to go diving in Hoi An because there's such a variety here. We have so many dive sites that if someone comes here for 5 days, they can dive a different site every day. Now, some parts of Vietnam, you can't do that.
Keen to encourage people in Hoi An to embrace diving, Steve opened the Blue Collar Diving Center in 2010. Offering a variety of training courses and scuba diving tours.
Hoi An Diving Centre, Blue Coral Diving, is an IDC centre, which means we can teach from very basic scuba diver course, which is a 2-day course, all the way up to instructor course, which is a residential 2-week course, and everything in between. Open water course, advanced, rescue, dive master. We also do specialty courses, we do photography courses, we do videography courses. So basically everything to do with diving we can do.
Well, you've just met with our diving instructor today, Mr. Steve Reid. He's a very, very experienced IDC staff instructor, so you know we're in good hands today. So let's go find Steve, but not on the boat or under the water, but at a swimming pool, because the first thing we have to learn is the basics of scuba diving from him. Let's go. Hi, Steve.
Good morning, Lanan. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. Very well, thank you.
So today I'm a novice.
Yep.
What do you have for me?
Well, today we're going to introduce you to the wonderful world and wacky world of scuba diving. Okay. Diving is all about being neutrally buoyant underwater. Basically, not sinking, not floating. And controlling your breathing so you can be very relaxed underwater.
Did you know that one of the first references in the history of scuba dates back all the way to 500 BC, when a Greek soldier who escaped from his Persian captors created havoc amongst the Persian fleet by cutting the ships loose, was submerged and breathing through a hollow reed for hours. Over centuries, people have now created a wide range of equipment to help themselves breathe underwater.
So I'll tell you a little bit about the equipment.
Yeah.
So what we got here is an aluminium tank. It's 11 litres. Inside here we have air compressed to 200 bar. It's very, very clean and it's very, very dry. We also have here a BCD, which is a buoyancy control device. This allows you to float on the surface and also to control your buoyancy underwater. So as I said before, to get you neutrally buoyant, you add air into this to compensate for the weight of the weight belts. Because you float, the tank floats, this floats, the wetsuit floats, the fins float, everything floats. So the only way we get you underwater is if we get a belt with lots of weight on. Now you feel that? That's 1.5 kilo a block. Yeah. This is lead.
1.5 kilo each?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, so we won't be wearing a lot of things.
You won't need so much because you're quite small. I need quite a lot because I'm quite big.
Did you know that fat people tend not to sink but float easier than skinnier people because they have a larger amount of body fat, enabling them to float more?
Also we have here is our regulators. This allows us to take the air from the tank and allows us to breathe it. Now this section here, this regulates the air because the air is high pressure in the tank. This regulates it down to low pressure. You have one high pressure on it, which tells us how much air is in the tank. We start off with 200 bar and normally you finish your dive with 50 bar. That's a safety margin.
Other eccentric equipment includes a mask and snorkel, which allow divers to see clearly underwater and protects their eyes. Fins for efficient propulsion,
These come in different styles. The wetsuit.
and a wetsuit or dry suit for exposure protection of the divers' bodies underwater.
So evening we'll assembly equipment and then we'll get in the pool and start practicing diving. Okay? Right. Well, with the open water course, we always do our skill training in the swimming pool. So it's a closed environment, relatively shallow water, so it's very easy for people to get their skills correct in shallow water. Because if you have any problems, you just stand up. We get all their skills done completely in the pool, and when we're happy as instructors that they're good enough, then we'll take them into the open water.
The first skill I get to learn is breathing comfortably underwater.
When you take it upside, just push the button that's up. Okay? Okay, after 3, 1, 2, 3.
Scuba diving involves breathing through the mouth instead of the nose. It takes me a while to get used to the skill.
Okay?
Yeah, okay. I feel comfortable.
Very simple, very simple.
Okay.
Next, I get to learn how to descend.
Without this?
So what we're going to firstly do is we're going to let all the air out and we're going to kneel down on the bottom of the pool. We'll put the regulator in. Make it nice and high. Just press the grey button to feel yourself sink.
Another important skill I get to learn is to move or glide underwater once I've got the preferred buoyancy level.
Okay, Lana. I think you're ready for the open water.
Okay.
Okay. You ready for the big day?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay.
So let's get on board.
Okay, let's go.
A beautiful sunny day has just begun here in Hoi An City. Today, I get to join Steve and other learners at his center in a diving trip to Cham Island.
Morning, Steve.
Good morning, Lanan. How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Did you remember to take the seasick tablet?
Yes, I did.
And everybody else?
Yeah,
Good. Okay, let's go front to the boat.
I see all the equipment here.
Yeah, we bring the tanks down by truck every morning because we have a storehouse in Hoi An where it's very clean, very dry. So that's where we fill our tanks. All the rest of the equipment is stored on the boat. You see on the board here, we've got 17 people on the boat today.
Once the people get in, you divide them into groups?
No, before they get here.
Before they get
here. We have to do a dive plan every day, so we know what everybody's doing before the customers get on the boat. So we've got all the information here that people need to know, where we're going, the temperature, the water temperature, the visibility we can expect. And we have a chart on here so we know where everybody is on the boat as well. And today the weather's beautiful, sunshine, so it'll be good. So lots of great colours in the water, so we should have a good day.
As the first thing to do when people get on the boat, Steve gets everyone to read and fill out a form which informs divers of potential risks involved in scuba diving and requires them to clearly state the medical conditions. This is to ensure that all people attempting diving today are physically capable. Steve also introduces everyone to today's diving itinerary and other information they need to know.
Emergency exits are there. That's it. In the middle of the boat here we have complimentary tea, coffee and drinking water. Please help yourselves throughout the day or ask one of us to make it for you, it's not a problem. There's also a set of stairs that go up onto the sun deck. Now there's a big shaded area up there as well, lots of chairs. If you do go up there, please apply some sun cream. I burn every day. Can you all please put on your life jackets? It's a new fashion here in Hoi An. It's going to take us about an hour to get out to the first island, so let's go and have a good day, okay? Come on. Right.
The boat stops as we reach the first diving site at Cham Island. This is when Steve and his staff helped assemble the equipment for their learners and divers. A brief of all the necessary equipment and diving skills is also given prior to the diving, especially for beginners.
Now the first rule of diving is never hold your breath, always breathe, so your lungs will look after themselves. But with your ears and your sinuses, we have to use a technique called equalizing. It's the same as when you're coming down to land in a plane and you feel the cabin pressure change and you feel some discomfort in your ears. All you do is just pinch your nose, blow against your nose, that adds air into your head and then equalizes the pressure from the outside. Can you just do that for me now? Make sure you can do it. Okay, so you can do it. Good. Right.
The open water, we start shallow. Maximum depth you're going to do for the first 2 days is 12. The first two dives, is 12 meters. We always do a deeper dive first, so your second dive is going to be shallower than 18 meters. And that's the open water course. With the advanced, they're already divers, so they don't need to do all the skills, but they have 16 different types of specialties they can choose from to become an advanced diver. They must do deep, they must do navigation, fish ID, naturalist, peak performance buoyancy, search and recovery. There's loads of things they can choose from.
Yeah, I haven't dived before, so no, it's been a great experience all the way through. So right from the start in the pool to out in the open water, very comfortable and relaxed. He made it easy, relaxed atmosphere, easy to understand, and very, very professional as well.
This is the last day of my advanced open water diver course. Steve has been like a dear friend to me, rather than an instructor. Diving with him, I can see his great passion for scuba diving and his love for ocean here. Besides scuba diving, he also introduces me a lot of attractions in Hoi An. Sometimes I feel like he is a tourism ambassador for the city.
Well, I've already put on my wetsuit and have all the equipment ready for me right here. It's now my turn to discover the underwater world at Cham Island. Well, pretty nervous, but very excited at the same time. Well, would you join me?
The first experience isn't pleasant for me. I could feel my heart beating rapidly and my ears hurt as I descend. Following Steve, I allow my ears to adjust often until I feel comfortable to explore. Did you know that once you get below 10 meters depth, you can't see red or yellow? If you cut yourself, your blood looks blue. As we descend further and further, another world opens up. It is stunning, and I can't keep from smiling to myself in amazement at what I'm experiencing.
It's a great place for people to learn. You have areas where it's nice and shallow, so you can teach students in shallow water and then take them off to deeper water. We have some really deep dives as well. At the back of the island there's a pinnacle that's a 50-metre pinnacle, which for experienced divers is great. You go down there, there's no coral, but there's lots of fish, lots of nudibranchs, octopus, things like that. Such a variety here, it goes for everybody. Whatever you're into, unless you're into sharks, then you're in the wrong country. But everything else is really good, yeah.
It's the variety of marine life and coral that you can find here, and then you can be surprised every dive, and you never know what you're going to see. So sometimes you hop in and you see something that you've never seen before.
For Steve and his staff at the center, getting people into scuba diving is more than just a job. It's rather a passion.
I really have a dream job here. I get paid to do what I like the most, and that's diving, and I can introduce people to that and get people into diving and help them to challenge themselves.
Diving industry, it's not about money, it's more about lifestyle. We work very hard for 8 months of the year, but the work we do is enjoyable, so it's not hard work. As I said before, I get up in the morning and I want to go to work. I don't not want to go to work, and I enjoy what I do. It's great to be surrounded by people who are on holiday, who are in happy, and we're providing them the product that they love. So they all leave us at the end of the day with a big smile on their face, and we know we've had a good day.
Scuba diving is not the only reason why Steve decided to stay in Hoi An. This city is where he found the love of his life and established a family.
We met in Nha Trang. I was actually doing my IDC down in Nha Trang, and duyet was down there on a training course at the same company. And we met. I think we liked each other at the time, and then they offered me the job to come to Hoi An. And first thing I asked was whether duyet was still working for them. And they said yes, so that's why I came to Hoi An. We dated for 2 years, and then we got married 6 years ago. And it's been great ever since.
Over the past 6 years, duyet has helped Steve run the center. The result of their love is a lovely little girl. Despite the busy work, Steve and his wife always make time for their daughter.
Cũng hay là chơi đùa với con trên cát, rồi làm những đồ chơi bằng cát với con, rồi cũng hay, anh cũng hay dẫn con đi bơi, rồi cũng dạy cho con là cách được bơi.
Living in Vietnam I feel very free here. I feel a lot freer in Vietnam than I actually did in the UK. The people are so good, everyone's happy, everyone's always looking forward, no one's looking back, and it's just a great place to live. I mean, the weather's good, the food's good, the countryside's beautiful. I go diving every day. Life is good.
We just had a very fun time scuba diving with Steve Ray. What else would you like to do in your free time? Well, Time Out comes next.
Tea was first introduced to Europe in the mid-17th century by Portuguese merchants. around the same time, tea was introduced to the royal house of England for the first time as Catherine of Braganza married Charles II. And the Duchess of Bedford paired it with snacks and friends to tide her over till late Victorian dinner. She called it afternoon tea. And now you have the opportunity to enjoy that special British delicacy right here in the heart of the city of Hanoi. So in this week's edition of Time Out, we're accompanied by tea enthusiast Hung Lee, who will be showing us how to roll. So what are you waiting for?
Let's get the party started!
Scones are the champions that make afternoon tea distinctly British. The question is, how hard is it to make them? So you have seen how delicious the British scones are, as well as how famous they might be. So today we have the opportunity to go behind the scene right at Tofty's workshop just to figure out how these are actually made. So hi, could you please explain to me how these scones are actually made and what ingredients are needed?
Sure. We start with some very basic ingredients. So we have self-raising flours, a little bit of salt and baking powder. And then we have butter, very cold, fresh from the fridge, butter, and some eggs with milk, and pretty much that's it.
Okay, cool. So what other steps can you guide me through?
Sure. We start with the flours and the sugar, so all the dry ingredients we mix together. And then when the flour is ready, you put the cold butter into the flour and just literally rub it in. And you need to be quick because it's going to be melted very quickly in your hand. So after you reach the consistency of like very sandy but still dry consistency, so you pour in the milk. And don't pour all milk at once because you cannot go back if it's too wet. And then you just pour the dough onto your working station like this. A little bit of flour on top, like this. And remember, don't work too much with the dough because it's going to be very tough. So the secret behind the scone is to keep it moist and fluffy. It's not to work too much. When the dough is ready and you roll it out and to the about like 1 to 2 centimeters thickness, and you use this cutter, like a cookie cutter, and you cut it into individual pieces. And you use the brush, is egg with a little bit of fresh milk. So you brush it on top to make it very nice color when you finish baking. And then you pop it on the tray and pop it in the oven.
And that is how a British dish could be prepared in a Vietnamese home. So what excites you the most about the tea culture of Britain?
Over there, our lifestyle is really slow. It's like way slower than in Hanoi. This is not only about just drinking tea and eating scones, but more like a social thing where you get to talk with your friends and even with your business partners and clients during afternoon breaks. This reminds me a lot of the time when I was in London.
The enjoyment of afternoon tea is actually an intrinsic process that defines class and taste. Among many that serve afternoon tea in Hanoi, the Intercontinental offers a luxurious and authentic experience.
So basically, the afternoon set we have 3 layers, from 2 to 3 layers. Normally we will start from the savory, the sandwich, and we end by the sweet. So as you can see here, from the first layer, we have the dark rye bread panini with the grilled vegetable, some cheese, and pesto sauce. We create the layer effect for the panini. And second thing, you can see the mini quiche l'orange. Basically, it's a bacon and onion. We fry it, put it inside. The next one, you can see the beef pastrami with vegetable, with cucumber pickle, and mustard sauce. And on this side, you can see the tartlet with salted forest mushroom. And after that, the guests will move to the scone with the strawberry jam, and the sweet including passion fruit panna cotta with mint leaf. And this one is chocolate praline. And on the top layer, we have the fruit skewer and the brownie lollipop. And when we stir the teaspoon should not touch the side of the cup to create the noise, so that is elegantly enjoy. In the royal, the English royal family, normally they hold it like this one. And we elegantly, we take a snip of the tea, and then we enjoy with the food. So that is the basic thing about the tea.
Oh, you went for that one first. Fine. So you've seen how gorgeously prepared all the food and the tea here are, but the best way for you to actually experience it is to come down here and enjoy the authentic feeling of being at a British tea service in Hanoi. Thanks for watching this edition of Time Out, and until next time.
And that's all we have time for in this episode of Expat Living. Thank you very much for tuning in. You can email us at expatliving@vtv.vn if you want to be featured in our show, or if you have any comments and suggestions to give us. You can always watch repeats of our program online at vtv4.vn or youtube.com/vtv4go. Once again, thank you so much for spending time here with us. This is Lanang, and I see you again in the next episode. Goodbye.